Okay, so it says we're live, but are we actually live? Let me check on my phone. How's everybody doing today? I hope everybody's doing well. Where is YouTube? There we go. And yep, okay, we're good. All right, how we doing today? Let's go ahead and get started. I've got to open up for you Action Joe Police Emergency Service Unit, ESU. That is a mouthful of a name. And Blue Shadow the Hedgehog is here and says, "Hello, Alan. Hello, right back at you." So you got a new screen name, it appears. so so yeah, here's a portrait of our police officer on the side. I'm just gonna say police officer or cop. I'm not gonna say all this. Like we'll just say police officer or cop anytime I need to refer to this guy. But here's a picture of him with his cup of coffee, talking into his radio. Got both the alternate heads on display here. The policeman hat, the riot kind of helmet, got a flare gun, got some handcuffs, got a sidearm. Yeah, there's a sidearm, got a shotgun, got a taser, got a nightstick, got a shield, got a whole lot of cool stuff in here. So this is not a character from the real American Hero universe, technically, but we'll get into all that in a minute. But yeah, this is part of the Legacy series, so he doesn't have a number on him. But yeah, the Legacy series, and our Tails the Fox is here and says, "Hi, Alan." Well, hi, right back at you. So this guy is not supposed to be like a specific character. He's kind of more of a throwback to the original version of G.I. Joe in the 1960s, where G.I. Joe was just kind of a generic character who could take on various roles and identities and such like that. And they had the fireman that was also part of this set, but I haven't gotten the fireman yet. I'll try to get him sometime, hopefully in the near future. But yeah, he reuses a lot of parts, or I don't know, reuse is the right word, because I think this guy might even come out first. They came out around the same time. He shares a lot of the same parts with Law. So we'll talk more about that once we get him opened up. But yeah, I actually have two of these guys. And I think it should be kind of obvious why I got two of these guys, is they got two different heads. So that way I can have both of them on display, and that should be cool. So anyway, let's go ahead and open them up. Yeah, this guy was one that, like, when they first put this guy up for pre-order, it sold out rather quickly. So I was kind of worried that I wouldn't be able to get one. But eventually I saw one at GameStop, and it wasn't actually too expensive at GameStop. So you got the G.I. Joe Legacy collection in there. So RL Tails the Fox says, "Nice to meet you. It's good to be here. I just want you to know I'm your girl. You know, every time you put the stream on, saying, RL Tails here from my girl, you know you got that. Well, nice to have you. Thanks for coming by." So there we go. We got a shotgun with a big old barrel of ammunition. And what else we got here? We got a flare gun. I'm pretty sure it's the same flare gun that came with Doc. This one's colored yellow with a black handle. And then we got the taser. And it's got that yellow stripe down the side so that you can tell it that's a taser, not a firearm. And then he's got a little cup of coffee. If you went by the Starbucks or some other place, it's a little white cup of coffee with a brown paper sleeve over it, brown lid on it. And see, the barista wrote Joe on there with a little heart. I think she's got a little crush on Joe. All right, let's set that aside. And then we've got the Caucasian looking head. So there's that. We can set that aside. It's got a neck attached to it, so that way his neck can be the same color when you swap out the head. We got the policeman's cap, little badge on it, glossy black brim. We got this helmet, and it's got a strap on it, and it's got the little plexiglass face shield on there, so it's like a riot type helmet. So we can set that aside. Lots of different display options with this guy. So you can display him with either head or the hat or the helmet. So that's like 4 different display options right there. And then he's got some glasses. These are the same handcuffs that came with Law previously. I'm going to say previously because I just opened it up. But like I said, I think this guy might have even come up before Law. They were pretty close together. And then we got these glasses. And to me, these look a lot like the ones that came with Mercer that we saw earlier. They might be the same glasses. I got Mercer here so we can compare the. It looks like they're the same glasses. It's just like Mercer has darker lenses and more of the frames are actually painted in. But it looks to me like it's the same sculpt as the ones that came with Mercer. Let's go ahead and put them on our Caucasian head since we have this out. And doesn't seem like they fit on there quite as snugly as Mercer, but it doesn't seem like they're falling off either. But there's that. So that's what those look like. We can put them on the black head once we get the figure out of the package and see what that looks like too. And there's the automatic pistol. And this is the same one that came with Law, which makes sense because it's going to go in the same holster. So you probably want to make sure that it fits. And then the nightstick, again, same one that came with Law. So this guy like has a lot in common with that figure. If you've got that figure already, then you've pretty much got this figure. It's just going to be kind of painted different. And the body underneath is going to be different, but we'll talk more about that in a minute. So then we got all taped up in this little baggie. We got a little poncho for our guy to wear. And it's got like a pocket in the front that says police on it. Does not appear to have a hood. And it's not sewed on the sides because, like I said, it's a poncho. So you can just kind of put this over his head and have him wear it that way. I would have liked it if it had a hood on it, but it does not, unfortunately. Earth Dudes is here and says, "We Batmen 2026." We sure are. Aw. Blue White Shadow the Hedgehog says, "God bless him for January 2nd, 2026. God bless you, my dude." Well, God bless you too. All right, and we got one more accessory. I'm almost forgetting to take it out, which is this big clear plexiglass riot shield. And it does have painted onto it quite a few nicks and scratches and things like that. Earth Dude says, "I'm fussy. If it's not 3 3/4 inch, my wallet stays closed." Well, I'll have some 3 3/4 inch G.I. Joe figures coming up soon. But yeah, like it's like gray paint that's over this. And you can see there's lots of scuff marks and things in it. It says police on it. And then on the back here, you see there's a strap that will go around the wrist and a handle for the left hand to grab. This is one that's going to have to go over the left hand because of how it's set up. I forget what shield it was, but one of the shields that came with G.I. Joe, I think it was the Alley Viper. It was actually set up so you could kind of rotate it around. And I liked that. That would have been cool with this, but no, they just got it facing one way. And then finally, our police officer himself. Now, like I was saying, this was a figure that was selling out rather quickly when it was up for pre-order. But I did manage to get 2, so that's good. 1 for each head. And it looks like he's got the same arms as Duke. But he does not have bare forearms. They it's not Blue White Shadow with a Hedgehog, it's Blue Shadow the Hedgehog. Sorry. Sorry. I get dyslexic sometimes. Sometimes my brain just like it just picks things up weird. But you can see they've got it the forearms painted as if he's wearing some kind of Under Armour shirt here, and it's got printing on it. It says police on one side, but you can't see all of it. And then on the other side it says I'm pretty sure that should say state issued, but part of it is covered up. And again, the same belt that Law had with the handcuffs and the flashlight. You know, them being they're both police, so it makes sense they would have similar equipment. You know what I mean? So he's got a little patch here on the side with a. It's not like really any kind of police specific logo. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like a New York City police officer. That's kind of the feel I'm getting off of it. But he's got the same vest that Law has, only this one's black instead of blue, and it's got a gold badge on it instead of a silver badge. And like I said, I'm pretty sure that the forearms, the arms are from Duke, and it looks like underneath it might be, it's probably that same t-shirt torso that Law had. And I wish I hadn't left Law in the other room, because then I could compare and see if these are the same legs that Law has. But I'm pretty sure it's the same web gear anyway. So he doesn't have a place to put a knife either, but he didn't come with a knife, so I can kind of let that slide. And you can see the little loop that holds his nightstick. That one's painted in silver on this one. So there's lots of little differences as far as the paint job goes. And then like the head sculpt, got a new head sculpt. But like I was saying, these sold out a lot at the I don't repeat what I said. It's not Blue White Shadow. It's I already read that. I'm sorry. I'm trying to read something else. Okay. So Blue Shadow the Hedgehog. So all right. So let's see. All right, where was I? So I think part of the reason this one sold out real quick is not just because of, you know, people wanting a G.I. Joe figure of a police officer, but, you know, this is a good figure to have for like your Marvel Legends or DC Universe Classics. I think some people were talking about even using them with the McFarlane DC Multiverse, but I kind of feel like he's a little short for that. I mean, we've got Commissioner Gordon right here. And I guess you could have a cop. Maybe Commissioner Gordon is like well over 6 feet, and this guy's just like 5'3" or something. But they're a little short for McFarlane, I think. I'll say that. But Marvel Legends and the old Mattel DC Universe Classics, you know, they can fit in pretty well with him, and specifically with the African American head here, it goes pretty well with this guy. It looks like Miles Morales' dad. You can see how short Miles is next to him. But yeah, so a lot of people have been using him for Miles' dad, which, you know, to me makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and, well, first, before we do that, let's put the glasses on this guy and see how the glasses fit on him. We'll go ahead and talk about like the glasses and the hat and the helmet. They look pretty cool on him. I think they look better on him than on the white head, on the Caucasian head. However you want to phrase that. And then let's try the cap first, because I feel like that's going to be easier to take on and take off. So there he is with the cap. And I wound up putting it on a kind of a jaunty angle. I didn't mean to do that, but yeah, there we go. And then we got this riot helmet. So I always want to be careful about the straps when they have the straps on here like this. I don't want to tear them up. Now it's stuck on his nose. Now it's stuck under his nose. Come on, strap. Get on there. And get it. Trying to get it under his chin, but it's a little tricky to do that when you got this collar in the way. Come on, strap, get on all the way. Strap doesn't quite want to get on all the way. I don't want to break it, but whatever. There he is with a helmet. If it does break, I guess that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I could just cut the rest of the strap off and not have to fool that anymore. Maybe it might be easier to get on if I've got the head off of the body. Let's try that. Since I've got like the Caucasian head sitting to the side here, we can. So there, now I got the chin strap actually underneath the chin. So that's what that looks like. I'm going to take it back off of him while I've got it off of his head. But yeah, you could buy like 4 of these guys and have each one set up with a different head and each one set up with a different hat. I guess you could get 6 of them and have like another 2 without heads or hats at all. And then you could kind of army build fairly easily with them, I guess. Bobby Wald is here and says, about a year ago, I came across a Briar Horse RV that fits good for 1/12 scale. Turned it into a SWAT just for those legacy officers. Well, that's cool. All right, so I'm going to take off this head, and I'm going to replace it with the Caucasian head. And that's the one that I'm going to leave on here. So that way, when I open up my second one, which I'll probably do after this video, I can leave the black head on this one and the white head on this one. I don't want to fool with it. But here he is with that Caucasian head. Now we can take a look at him with the cap. There's that. All right, get that out of the way. Let's go ahead and talk about his articulation for a little bit. So our cop can look up that far, look down that far, tilt his head kind of quizzically from side to side, rotate the head all the way around. Of course, the arms rotate all the way around the shoulders. We got the butterfly joint here, bends forward that far, bends backward that far, bends forward that far. And he's got a bicep swivel, so the bicep rotates all the way around. Got double jointed elbows. That's about the range of motion you get at the elbows. Wrists rotate all the way around, and the right wrist has a horizontal hinge, which moves back and forth like so. The left wrist rotates all the way around and has a vertical hinge, which moves up and down like so. And he does seem to have an ab crunch, a hinge here at the abs, which moves back and forth, but it's under that vest. So it's going to hinder it a little bit, but not as much as you might think. And then rotates all the way around at the waist. And I'm moving that belt around. And then you can move back and forth like that at the waist, back and forth like that at the waist. It's set up kind of like an old 1980s G.I. Joe, but it's not an O-ring. It's a ball and a socket. So, but it does remind me a lot of those old 80s G.I. Joes, so I like that. So our police officer has a drop-down hip, and he can kick up about that far, so that's pretty good. He does have a thigh cut, so the thigh rotates all around, although it's kind of messing with the holster a little bit. He's got double-jointed knees. That's about the range of motion you get at the knees. He's got a boot cut, so the boot rotates all the way around. Foot points down about that far, foot points up about that far, and then the foot rotates all the way around. So there we go. All right. Now let's talk about some of these accessories. And the first thing I'm going to do is put this helmet back onto him, because there's something I want to say about that. And I pointed out before that these are not supposed to be real American hero G.I. Joe characters. These are not characters that are part of the ongoing conflict between G.I. Joe and Cobra. But it occurs to me that when you have the Caucasian head on this guy, he's not too far away from the DEF version of Shockwave. And here's, the original version of Shockwave next to him. So, if you wanted to have a classified version of the DEF version of Shockwave, well, this is kind of already it. This is you got it right here. Luke Skywalker 1977 is here and says, I'm hoping to find a few of these when they go on clearance. I will probably buy more of these if I find them on clearance. Because like I said, they're good army builders, and they've got a lot of good parts for customs. So, and this is one of those where it's almost kind of intended to be like a custom figure right out the box. Because, you know, you've got your a lot of parts, different heads, different hats, different accessories, and everything like that. So let's go ahead and talk about some of these accessories. Like I said, these handcuffs are kind of designed so that you can take the character's hands off and put these in between the wrists, and the Sergeant Slaughter does not have a removable wristbands. So I can demonstrate on Sarge. Sarge is volunteering to demonstrate these handcuffs. So what you want to do is you want to take the hands out, and kind of what I do is kind of hang them on the peg there, but make sure you hold on to them so you don't drop them. And then you can peg the handcuff in between the wrist and the hand. And is it going to be big enough so that you can put both of them on Sarge here? I think it might be. Let's see. Sarge seems like the kind of guy who's big enough they'd have to use like 2 sets of handcuffs on him. You know what I mean? There we go. So we got the handcuffs on Sarge. But, of course, we all know that he's superhumanly strong, so they're not going to hold him. They're going to pop right off. Get that off of him. Okay, get back on there now. I don't want to talk too much about you. We already talked about you. We opened this one up years ago. Anyway, so let's go ahead and have a look at some of these other accessories. He's got the automatic pistol, the sidearm, and have a look at him with that. There we go. That's pretty cool. And then that can go into this holster right here on his torso. And it's got one of those straps that's really annoying. I always have a hard time closing them. But it wound up being really easy on Law when I opened him up on the last episode. And it worked pretty well on that one. So they actually designed that one pretty well. Good on ya, Hasbro. And then he doesn't seem to have any other... well, he has this holster here. I'm guessing his taser will go here. But I don't see a place to put this flare gun. Let's go ahead and talk about the flare gun first. I guess you could put the flare gun in the holster too. But the flare gun seems more like something that he would keep in his car anyway. You know what I mean? So we'll go ahead and get this in here. The trigger finger's kind of struggling just a little bit. But there we go with the flare gun. I need a flare gun and some flares. All right. Anybody who gets that reference, you're my kind of people. All right. And then we got the taser. Go ahead and get the taser in there. So there he is with the taser. Now, I'm kind of thinking, let me look at the back of the box here. I can't quite tell which one he's got in this holster. But yeah, he's got a leg holster. So yeah, this is different web gear from what Law had, because he had that Uzi holster. But the taser fits in there just fine. I'm wondering if we can reverse those. If we can put the firearm into that holster and put the taser into his torso holster. And it seems like the pistol fits fine in there. So let's see if I can fit this taser into his vest holster. That seems like that's not quite going to fit. So yeah, you definitely want to have the taser on his leg, because even though the pistol fits on his leg fine, the taser doesn't fit so well on his vest. So there we go with that. We'll just go ahead and put that back together. And we'll go ahead and put the taser into that thigh holster. There we go. And we got the nightstick. So there's the nightstick. We might as well go ahead and put this riot shield on him. And I always have kind of a hard time getting the hands to grip the shields properly. Sometimes what I wind up doing, and what I'm going to do this time, is I'm just going to take the hand off. And then it's usually easier for me to get the hand to grip. The hand to grip that. I'm going to plug that in. So there he is holding that riot shield. So that's pretty cool. And when we're talking about getting these on clearance for like custom parts, these would also be good custom parts to give to Shockwave, I think, since he's a SWAT team guy. But of course, like I said, you could pretty much consider this to be Shockwave, or at least the DEF version of him. I mean, the faceplate's a little different, but whatever. To me, it's pretty close. The breastplate's a little different, too. That one was more of an armored breastplate. Like I said, this is the same vest that Law has, so it's a little more closer to that figure. But whatever. To me, it works. It's like if I wanted to use a DEF Shockwave, I could just use this one. Or I wonder if I could just put this head onto the Shockwave figure and have an unmasked Shockwave that way. And then he's got one more accessory. So let's get the shield off of here. And be careful when you pull these hands off, because these wristbands are separate pieces. I kind of forgot about that when I pulled this off this time. You don't want to lose those. And this, to me, just looks like a wristband. Like it's supposed to be just kind of like the end of his shirt sleeve or the end of his glove or something like that. This one is actually a watch, and it's got like a light blue face on it. And that's a dark blue watch band with a light blue face. And then this one's kind of a gray. Looks like it's got kind of a pattern over it. And like I said, he's got a loop for his nightstick, so you can hang his nightstick in there like so. And then the last accessory this guy has is this shotgun, this nasty looking shotgun with the little barrel there with lots of shotgun shells in there. This is a cool weapon. I like this. So let's go ahead and put that into his hands. Oh, and it occurs to me I haven't put the poncho on this guy yet, so I should probably put the poncho on him so you can see what that looks like before I end this video. But there he is. There he is with the shotgun. That looks badass. I like that. And he doesn't come with any extra hands, so I'm guessing you're supposed to put the coffee cup into these hands. And I will say that the hands do feel like they're very flexible. They're not quite as rigid as the classified hands can be sometimes. I'm going to take the Caucasian head off of him again. I'm going to go ahead and put the African American head back onto him. And I keep switching back and forth between African American and black because I don't just want to say like black, black, black. I don't want to be like that. Or African American, African American, African American. Like you know, let's switch up some variety. But yeah, we can put the poncho over this guy. And like I said, it's unfortunate he doesn't have a hood, because I always think about like the policemen having the ponchos with the hoods that go over the hats. You know what I mean? That would have been cool. but unfortunately not the case here. So we'll just put the hat back onto him so his head doesn't get rained on that much. But there's what he looks like with the poncho. And don't worry, I know it's winter, but he's got some coffee to keep him warm. That cute little barista wrote a little heart on his cup. And yeah, I can squeeze that in there. So he's like, hey, look, that cute little barista wrote a little heart on my cup. I think she got a little crush on me. So yeah, that's everything I think on this guy. He's a really cool figure, and he's got a lot of really cool display options. And like I said, you could buy several of the Police Emergency Service Unit ESU Action Joe and display him in several different ways. So, and even if you get bored with these two heads, you could probably swap them out for some other, G.I. Joe heads that you might have lying around. Like if you're somebody like me who has a lot of, extra G.I. Joe heads from customs you made, hey, swap some of those on there. I don't know how well the helmets would fit over Tomax and Zaymot's magnificent manes, but you could try it. Maybe even cut them down a little bit if you needed to. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with how this figure turned out, and he's a good army builder, and he's a good DEF Shockwave if you want to use him for that. So we'll go ahead and put that shotgun back in his hand because I'm gonna want to definitely have that when I take the thumbnail picture. Oh, and the ammo drum thing that is removable. So I don't think I pointed that out before, but yeah, he's cool. I like him. He was a good figure to end our G.I. Joe Classified series this time on. I don't know what I'm going to open up next. I think next I'm going to do Princess Bride, since I did really want to do those as my tribute to Rob Reiner, who unfortunately left us in the most tragic of circumstances, and his wife along with him. So I did want to open up those figures very soon. So I think I'll do that as my next thing. And then, I don't know, we got a bunch of He-Man stuff, and we got a bunch of Ninja Turtle stuff, and we got some Turtles of Grayskull stuff. So I think since I've got less He-Man proper, I think most of the stuff I have is actually Turtles of Grayskull. And I have this guy. I have King Randor to open up. The cartoon collection, King Randor. So I think I'll do Princess Bride, then I'll do King Randor, and then we'll do the Turtles of Grayskull, and then we'll segue back into more Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. How do you guys like that? Does that sound good? And I've got to open up this guy before I take my my thumbnail, because I want to have both of my cops in the thumbnail. So that's going to be it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. YouTube likes it when I say like and subscribe, so I like to say like and subscribe. Leave a comment. I like it when you leave comments. So make sure that you do that. And that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed it. We will talk to you next time. If I can get a hold of my mouse. Bye.